welcome to the third and final episode of Season 3 of Blood Bonding. As you can see, we have with us our lovely storyteller, Ellie Collins, and our very own Banu Hakim, Cyrus, Dustin, Fletcher. I'll just do the character
Banu
name and mess it up.
Hakim.
Yeah, yep. I'm already starting off on a great roll, so we'll go ahead and jump right into announcements. Oh, reminder, this is a postseason show, which means we will have spoilers. I am all over the place. Um, but our announcements, don't forget that you can go to rusted-icon.net for the Renashri Camarilla pint glasses. You can go to the atlbynight.net website for the Lost Child or Play Guide. You can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/atlbynight, where you can get access at a certain patron level to our live roleplay Discord server.
Only the $3 tier gets you in.
Oh, it's a $3 tier? That's a good deal. I think most of the places are like a $5 tier, so $3 is a good one.
Yeah, $3 you get into the ATL RP server.
So for the low price of $3 per month, you can roleplay with your very favorite Atlanta coterie. So we can go ahead and jump into it. One of the questions that I saw a lot, well, actually, it's sort of a stacked question. It was, what the fuck? Why the fuck? And the follow-up was, how do I make it stop hurting? I saw a lot of that.
So what the fuck a lot? Why the fuck? Because Dustin and I are masochists, and how do I make it stop hurting? You don't.
Nope.
The only way out is through.
I mean, yeah.
That's what happens when you have two DM, GM, storytellers making an emotional story.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah, I thrive on tragedies.
Same.
And I wrote myself a tragedy, so, you know.
So what you're saying is you write tragedies, not sins.
I swear to God.
Good night, everybody. That's our show.
As soon as Ellie drives over to murder me, we'll have enough time to talk to Dustin. So, jumping with the election questions, because we had the Renashri Camarilla election this season, Cyrus couldn't vote. And I know Ellie has a lot of feelings about who people voted for. Does Cyrus have thoughts on how the other characters voted, or how do you think it'll affect how he sees his fellow coterie members?
Cyrus doesn't care. Like, I mean, it didn't care at that point. Who knows what happens moving forward? But at this point, he didn't care who voted for what, who became, you know, it didn't really matter to him who people voted for.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I think other people, cared. Dustin, on the other hand, woo. Choices were made. That's for sure. Choices were made.
That is very true. If Cyrus could have voted, who would he have voted for?
He would have voted for Dot simply because that's just all he knows.
That's his boss.
It is his it's his boss. And he probably would have voted for, like, I don't know who his like order would have been, but his top two in the ranking would have been Dot and an Alpha.
Okay. Both people he's worked with.
Yeah, because of his strengths. You know, he may not like Alpha's personality, but Alpha gets the job done, and he respects that aspect of Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the list, actually, of the ranking.
Oh. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, because this was how it shook out. 8th place was Clarice. She would appreciate that. 7th place was Alima. 6th place was Georgina. 5th place was Alejandro. 4th place was Elijah. 3rd place was Dot. 2nd place was Mel. And 1st was Alpha. But so how the election ran was so we used a program that does ranked choice voting system, which means like the order that you put everyone in, when somebody was eliminated, that vote that you had for them moves to the next person on your list. So it ended up being like, I think 39-30 between Mel and Alpha in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge gap, as I recall.
Yeah, it was quite close, which is why Mel got Keeper of Elysium.
And then, Ellie, I know you have a lot of thoughts
I swear to
on.
God, everyone voting for Dot, I worry about you. Because Dot is very much a fascist.
Yeah, not a good person.
Yeah, no, Dot is a terrible person. She's a fascist.
No.
She doesn't
Oh
follow
yeah.
the rules. She does not give a single shit about the Renashri Camarilla. She's very like, fuck you, I'm gonna get mine.
Yeah, everybody. Atlanta is a chessboard, and
Yeah.
everybody are pieces that she's moving.
Thank you for the raid, Gehenna Gaming.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you for the raid. And
Um,
welcome to everyone who came from Gehenna Gaming.
Also, yeah, somebody said it in the chat. Alejandro was over Alima, which was a shock to me. The fact that Alejandro got so high in the ranking was a surprise to me. I expected him to be dead last, but
I will say, I don't know that Alima had the best ideas, but I do stand her for obviously biased reasons, but also because just that presentation.
I
I mean,
personally,
Storytellers are all about presentation, but like,
I personally voted for Alpha, just because he had been more or less doing the job of Prince for like 2 months by the time the election rolled around, because he
Yep.
had been having to stand in for a lot of what Talbot was doing, and the city was already working. Plus, we love Trevor, and we want to have Trevor back on as much as
we
possible.
do.
Fruit.
We do. I can't wait until we can actually get him to travel here eventually.
But
in the future.
But Dot is such a horrible person, and if anything, the comparison to real world politics, where people were literally voting for a fascist because they thought that she was like cool and charismatic, is a problem. Please, y'all don't carry that into the real world.
Yeah, and we all know you voted for Alejandro just because he's pretty.
That's true.
I mean,
Lucas
that's
is very
valid.
pretty.
Lucas is beautiful.
Well, and it's also, I think it's an interesting thing to bring up people voting for a fascist because they're cool. I think I think that our politics have come out on the show a little bit as well, and so it might be hard to see a character like Dot coming from people who, we support BLM, we support activist movements that are about freedom of speech and democracy, presenting this character of Dot who seems really cool and charismatic, but is also kind of an awful human being. Well, awful vampire being.
Yeah.
Awful kindred being.
Yeah, there's more about Dot that'll come out in season 4 now that she hasn't gotten her way, and now that she currently has one of the most legendary members of the Sabbat and a Caliph of the Banu Hakim living under her roof. She very much she has a lot of stuff working in her favor now, and that's gonna mean we're gonna find out a lot more about Dot.
So that actually brings up another really interesting question that someone had. And this may be a find out and play thing. Which candidate is actually most mad at how the members of the coterie voted?
Honestly, out of the candidates, none of them are mad.
Okay.
None of them are mad because the ones that didn't get voted for by the coterie had no expectations. Like, Alpha did not want Aaron to vote for him because he knew that Aaron would have been voting for Clan and not for who he thought could do the job. So Alpha didn't want Aaron to vote for him. Dot didn't expect anyone to vote for her, and she doesn't really give a fuck if they did or not because she thought she had it in the bag with the Nosferatu. But none of the candidates are actually really mad about it. Elijah is like a little afraid of the people who voted for him either not knowing the history of Thin Bloods or maybe having something malicious out for him.
And that's a really valid fear for him to have. This one was an interesting one, and I know you mentioned you wanted to talk about it. Why do you wear wigs for all your games?
Yeah, so multiple people asked me that, so I was like, let's just go ahead. So it started with when we started ATL by Night in January, before everything hit, I had to go straight from work to set, and I play with my hair too much, as you can see on streams all the time. And so my hair would look like terrible by the time we were going live. So I was like, I'll just wear a wig, and then my hair looks great every time we're live. And then that became the established thing. And so I wore a wig I wear a wig on the show now, so that's my Storyteller wig. And then when we were doing the vignettes, if you notice, I wear a different wig, and that's because I hadn't washed my hair yet that day because it's easier to braid to put up in a wig when it's a little dirty. Mm-hmm. And now I went looking for my Storyteller wig, only to find out I had left it here at the studio. So I found the first black wig in my closet, and it's actually the wig for my first VTM character that I've been playing for 16 years. Multiple wigs over the years, but it's the same hair. So in the vignettes, it's the wig of my longtime VTM character.
Oh, that's funny. That was one thing I did not notice, but I'm not a hair person, so
yeah, it's more curly and has like red stripes in it.
Okay. So Dustin, this was an interesting thing someone brought up. So we saw Mel lose a touchdown. We also saw one of Cyrus's touchstones, I think. How tenuous are his connections to his touchstones?
Well, as was revealed, Cyrus had no idea what his touchstones were until they came out. Everybody got to witness Cyrus learning about his touchstone live, because his entire memory was taken from him and erased, so he had no idea anything about what he had. That's why he was seemed to be almost very flat, like he was just as a character starting out, he was pretty flat, because he's just, I'm dark, I'm brooding, I kill people. There's not much to it, and that's kind of what I wanted with the character, is I wanted that reveal of, oh wait, there's a whole lot, like, you're just looking at the surface. There is a whole lot of just misery and awfulness under this, first layer. So yeah, it was fun.
And you brought up the dark brooding, I kill people thing. When Ammon tried to enforce Cyrus killing Dr. Gilbert, obvious spoiler. When Ammon tried to enforce Cyrus killing Dr. Gilbert, do you think, you as the player, and Ellie, if you want to comment on this afterward, do you think Ammon's motivation was more trying to destroy that touchstone and get rid of that vestige of humanity, or do you think there was another motive to it? It's you, Dustin.
I'm gonna let Dustin go first.
I honestly do. I think because it's what Cyrus was embraced and raised to be, is the ultimate assassin, the ultimate. There is no connections, no feelings. All you are is what is the target in front of you, what's through the scope. And from Amon's point of view, 100%, like, oh, this is a loose end. This is keeping you from being what we created you to be for. Fine, get rid of it. Cut it out of your life. You remembering it is a problem, and we need to remedy that problem. So 100%, I think it was to take that humanity from him and bring him back into being able to be controlled again.
Well, and Dr. Gilbert was always going to be slated to have a contract on her just by who she is and what she does. Cyrus being given the contract was pointed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So it was, the reasons why she needed to die are still like completely valid. They weren't based on Cyrus, but Cyrus's connection to her is why Cyrus was chosen to do it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. That's really interesting. And so talking about the vignettes, obviously Alex was a fantastic player as Ammon. Did either of you have a favorite guest player or character this season?
That's choosing my favorite children.
Yeah, I can't
choose. Yeah. I have something favorite about each of them, because each guest brought a completely different vibe to each one, and so it's like, I don't think I could have interchanged any of the guests into other roles. Yep. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
Like
100%.
nobody else could have played Dr. Gilbert but Lauren. Nobody else could have played Lucita but Cynthia. And so I think that makes it impossible to choose a favorite because like they're each my favorite of that person, and that's why I chose them.
Agreed. Like I'm the same. Like I can't pick a favorite because they all brought so much to the characters that they portrayed, and embodied that character. And again, I there's no one that I would want to play Dr. Gilbert other than Lauren. There's no one I want to play Amon other than Alex. There's I mean it is we're so lucky that we reached out to everyone we wanted to play these roles, and we got every single one we wanted to fill these roles. And so it's we're very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and they all did a just amazing job and knocked it out of the park. So I
would even say blessed, not lucky. We were blessed.
Yeah. Yeah, because that wasn't luck. That was absolutely
hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
100%. Like we got everyone that was our dream for every character. Like I've had Melee in mind for Denise since I met Melee. So getting to finally pull her in as Denise was a blessing.
Speaking of vignettes, with Cyrus working with Georgina, right? Are we going to get an odd thruple vignette with Georgina, Cyrus, and Elijah trying to enforce rule? Cricket? Sorry, my cat just broke into my room. She's not supposed to do that.
To answer for fans, and because I know Emily has wireless headphones, it's something I would like to do. It's definitely a goal. It's on my list of things.
It is. Anything is possible. Just gonna have to watch to find out.
We have a dream. We have a dream list of that we've had the whole time of vignettes we want to do, and then it just depends on people's schedules. Where are we with the main story? What makes sense to do? But we have a very long list of what we want to do.
Fair enough. Yeah. And then I think I had another vignette question that was... yeah. Where does Cyrus put all the blood he steals in the vignettes?
I can actually tell you because he has... We've seen it on camera. He has a safe that he keeps all of them in. And he... as a Banu Hakim, their whole aspect is when they take a contract, their price is a vial of blood of the person getting the contract. So that is why he's constantly collecting blood, because it's the Banu Hakim's beliefs that, kindred blood is the perfect source and like the ultimate way to reach that enlightenment, I guess you could say. So that's why he's constantly collecting blood, looking for blood, and wanting, getting the vials of blood. The hearts are his detriment. Like he is an omnivore. So omnivore. That's
Organivore.
Organivore. Words. He's an omnivore. He is not an omnivore. He is an organivore, and so that's one of his flaws. So and you can only replenish completely with the heart. So that's why.
And nobody has really asked yet where Dot keeps getting these hearts.
Yep.
I've been wondering, and I have theories, and none of them are good.
Yeah. Dot's a fascist.
All of them are concerning. So someone wanted to know, and I think I could apply this to both of you because I can't remember if they were asking about Cyrus or Dustin. If you could diablerize one member of the coterie, who would it be and why?
Anton.
I knew that was coming.
That was fast. You have considered this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I knew that was
the biggest
coming.
threat.
Yeah.
So just that he's the biggest threat, not the knowledge or any of the abilities he has?
Oh, that too.
That's a happy byproduct.
Yeah. It's, and I can talk about it now. Cyrus is not a true Banu Hakim. He is a caitiff, which is why Cyrus doesn't have any blood sorcery. Banu Hakim have the blood sorcery discipline, and so he never experienced the blood sorcery or even knew much about it, other than the few bits that he'd seen growing up in the oh my goodness, I just forgot the home base of the Banu Hakim in the Middle East. But growing up there, he saw some of it, but yeah, no, he never really had access to blood sorcery.
And we didn't get to really talk about the blood sorcery that Amon has. Like, one of Amon's blood sorceries is his blade being anointed, which involves submerging it completely in your blood. And
In your own blood?
yeah, in your own.
Okay.
So his blade was anointed, and he never used it on Cyrus. 'Cause I was so worried he would.
Yep.
I mean, Cyrus was hanging by a thread in that last vignette. Like, what? Because I think we talked about this in the fan server a little bit. Probably going to be a link in chat momentarily, but we talked about it in the fan server a little bit, and we talked about it, I think, off screen a little bit. What was the motivation, or what was your thought process around basically allowing him to just barely get out of that damage by the skin of his teeth?
So, unfortunately, with some of the powers, there's not really in-depth explanations on how they, like, mechanically affect the kindred. So I had to make an executive call because so when you get Cauldron of Blood done to you, you take the dice roll of each party, and the difference between them is how much aggravated damage you take.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a 7 dice difference between them, or 7 success difference. And then with, so you take that, but you also go up a hunger for each damage you take. So how I have always ruled it is you're taking aggravated damage so bad it's increasing your hunger, so they're going up in tandem. So by the time he hit 5 aggravated damage, that was him frenzying.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other 2 I canceled out because he had already hit a frenzy where he's just practically animalistic at that point. So I made the executive call that since it exceeded 5, that the frenzy took a greater precedence in that moment than the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why also, because with him being an organivore, because somebody had asked, like, I think it was during the show, they had asked, like, why the blood of 2 people didn't satiate him, and it was because it wasn't organs.
Yep.
He had to eat the organs of the people to actually get it under control.
Yep.
Yeah, and he did eat the organs of one of the people, did he?
He ate from both of them.
So at the end, he feasted on their hearts, and that's what satiated him. But
Yeah.
with him just tearing out their flesh, that really didn't do much but drop a bit. Basically allowed him to get a little bit of control over himself. So he stopped frenzying, but it did not drop him down to where he wasn't, still at.
Yeah. Mechanically, I let the blood take him out of frenzy, and then the hearts are what took him down 3.
Yep.
Okay, got it. And then one person wanted to know if we could get more insight into the production process of the vignettes, how often they're recorded. Now, I know, because I've talked to you about it, that we recorded them basically about not quite a week before they would air for most of them.
So we would do ATL on Tuesday, and then we would do a vignette on, like, Friday or Saturday.
Yep.
And so we were pretty much running both of those together for almost the whole season.
So I guess this will go for both of you, since we can have you both vote. If you could have voted and based your vote only around who you or your character, and Ellie, I'll let you say as maybe your 16-year Malkavian character, finds attractive in the candidates, who would you have voted for?
I still would have voted for Alpha. Prince Cassandra would have probably voted for Alejandro.
Okay.
If we went purely on looks, because she has romanced some La Sombra before.
Okay.
If we're going off of characters, Cyrus still wouldn't have voted, because he is like the quintessential of asexuality. He has no attraction, no nothing. All he cares
He has a
about
blank
is
slate. He doesn't know
So I
what
think
cute is.
he doesn't know
so
any of that.
I think that means we have like 3 canonical ace characters
Mhm.
on the table.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there has been some, like, backstory wise. Obviously, he
Yeah.
had a wife and was in love, but that wasn't Cyrus. That was Ryan.
Yeah, pretty much. I think our show, just about everybody is either bi or ace. I think is
Yeah.
the spread of characters. Because honestly, when you
You either go every
live as
direction or none.
yeah, you live long enough as a kindred, you're either like, I don't want none of this, or I guess everyone's fine.
That sounds about right. I feel like if I lived long enough, it'd just be like,
Oh, and
You
I know
either
the
get-
chat asked, Aaron is confirmed ace.
oh yes, sorry. I don't know if we ever. Yeah,
I think we
talked
did.
about it loosely. I don't know if
We did on,
spelled it
or
out.
I think you guys covered it on their episode, but yeah, Aaron is confirmed ace.
Yeah. If your characters were to sit down and play D&D, and I think Dustin, you already gave us a D&D character sheet for Cyrus,
I
but
did.
if he were to sit down and play, what race and class would he choose?
Uh,
And Ellie, if you want to pick any NPC, I have one condition: it cannot be Tilly, it cannot be a turtle, and it cannot be a rogue. Because I know you.
That's a self call out. Thank you.
it's good stuff.
You go first, Dustin.
Drow rogue. I mean, it's
That
what-
tracks.
I mean, let's be fair. I mean,
Dot tiefling barbarian.
Okay. Oh, that'd be fun. Tiefling barbarian?
And that's a season 4 hint.
Noted. So here's this one might be a longer question. So how much, Dustin, did you know about Cyrus's connection to Amanda Gilbert? Or was that something you'd already worked out with Ellie? Or was that...
I wrote
did
it.
you give her...
Mhm.
Ah,
That was my backstory. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was written into my backstory from the beginning. I left a lot of it open for Ellie, but I Dr. Amanda Gilbert was named in my backstory. Knew it was his previous wife, and he was sent to Atlanta to assassinate her, but could not pull the trigger and did not know why.
Everything else from there I filled in, and then all of her modern life I worked out with Lauren pre-vignette.
okay. That's really cool. And then we know Cyrus clouded her memory in the vignette. Who did it the first time?
I think that's gonna have to be a wait and see.
I'm gonna stay quiet on that one because I think that one still has potential to come out because there are implications with it.
Okay.
Because
And-
it's cloud memory is a really easy power to do, but it only takes a short span of time. To actually rewrite years of someone's life is a much more powerful person.
And someone did ask if it was his sire, so that makes me wonder even more. You mentioned bringing Lauren up to speed. So where was it? I had it written down. There we go. How do you bring your guest players up to speed? Do you go time going over important details and themes? But it sounds like you also work out what they'd like to see in the character.
Yeah, it's kind of a 75-25. So like especially like when Lucas came on for Alejandro, because we had so much that had happened with Alejandro before then, I try and either get them a sheet of core things that they need to know, core character beats, anything that might come up in play that they should know. And then I give them a lot of freedom to run with it and tell them that they're free to ask me at any point in play, would I know that? And I fill it in for them.
Do you ever give them like story beats you'd like them to hit?
We usually go over a basic framework with the vignettes. Like, you know, like with Denise, it was, okay, you guys are going to go to the Atlanta Zoo. Here's a link to a map of the Atlanta Zoo because you would be familiar with it. There's going to be a lost childer there. However you get them back is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was actually a lot of possibility for the Denise vignette to go horribly wrong. I had a lot of that, but as a storyteller, I don't like to do social roles unless there actually is a potentiality for me, like, in the place of that character to not believe them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm not going to have someone roll persuasion if they're actually presenting a very persuasive argument. I want to lean more heavily into the RP on that one. And I, like, playing that NPC could not come up with any way to argue what Denise was telling her. So I just let it go.
Fair enough. And then with Dustin having some history with a couple of these characters, did you get involved in any of these planning sessions at all, or were you like to try and how do I word this? Make sure your combined history lined up?
Yeah, we Ellie and I, like I said, I approached it very much from a a storyteller and like showrunner aspect from of that of guide where we knew what beats we wanted to hit with the vignettes. We knew what we wanted to show. So when we were planning out and locking in guests and who they were going to play, you know, we kind of worked in hand so that way we make sure that these certain points were hit and these certain beats were hit.
Mm-hmm.
But everything was organic as far as that goes. It was basically just the framework of the vignettes of, hey, this is going to be this, we're going to do this, and then I would basically fill in Ellie, hey, this is my idea of what I think Cyrus would do in this situation, to kind of give her some footing to stand on. And then from there, as far as like my personal backstory stuff goes, and then from there, anything that happened was 100% reactionary, improv. Like going into the Dr. Gilbert scene, I had no idea how Cyrus was going to react to it. I tried to, like, I've been thinking of it for months for when this inevitable confrontation was going to happen. And the night we filmed this, it was literally like as it was happening, I just let the character take over and just kind of went with it. There was as much planning as I could do. It was like it had to be genuine, and the emotions had to be real. And so it was stuff like that. And then even the Amon episode, I had no idea how Cyrus was going to react to meeting his sire for the first time and finding out that information, and all of that, like me stumbling over my words was Cyrus, because Cyrus, no social skills whatsoever, and is putting in a situation where he's trying to argue something that logically he agrees with. His training up, like his basically mental torture up to that point, is his conditioning is, you're right. You are 100% right. She should die. But his morality and humanity he was having an internal conflict with that as well, which is why the only thing he could say is she's an asset. He had no other argument. It was a very, very weak argument.
It was incredibly weak.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Cyrus to say something, like when the journal got brought up, I was waiting for him to be like, but what if there's something she knows she didn't write down? Like,
yeah.
But
he doesn't think like that. Like,
yeah, but he was not prepared to lie to his sire.
Yeah.
Or even to like improvise an argument.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he is. That's not his mentality. He is a killer. He's a trained assassin who was literally raised with zero emotion.
Yep.
And to 2 days into having emotion, how do you react to that?
Yeah.
Poorly. Not well.
Yeah,
that's very true.
And a lot of that, like, making the framework was also because we knew that the vignettes had to be an hour.
Yeah.
And so we had to make sure what ground do we need to get covered by the end of an hour. Because I didn't want, like, Cyrus and Amon to have just the confrontation with no resolution take over an hour. So
Yeah,
a lot of
that's very
figuring
true.
out that framework was to make sure that we could keep the story condensed.
Did you have like almost like a little timing sheet where you're like, about this time is when we
Mm-hmm.
should start? Okay.
Yeah, whenever I set up my screen, I have like 1/3 of my screen is just the cast for that episode. 1/3 of my screen is notes and character sheet, and then 1/3 is like the book in case I need it.
Okay. Where did I have it written down? Did If your thoughts changed on the Prince candidates throughout the season, how did they change? And that's even you, Ellie, because I know that sometimes playing a character can give you a different vibe.
I had more fun as Alima than I thought I would have. But at the same time, she was a surprise to me, even playing her, because I was not prepared for the conversation with the coterie, because they still surprised me very much. So I was like, man, I really had planned for Alima to be stronger, but she is not prepared for little shits like this. And so I thought I had her as a much stronger candidate, and I didn't. And so as that progressed, her as a seneschal made way more sense.
Mm-hmm. And Dustin, did your thoughts on any of the candidates? Well, not just Cyrus's thoughts, but yours as a player.
I specifically did not watch any of the episodes where they interviewed the candidates because Cyrus would not care. So I did not want to have any of that out of play knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. 100%. I get that. I've done that. So the vignettes have been a new part of season 3. What has been your favorite vignette? I know we already asked about guests, but like, which one of the vignettes do you think was like that either hit you the most emotionally, or that was your favorite to play, or what?
Devil in His Due with Amon is just because that has been something I've been waiting to have happen for 3 seasons. Like, all of the vignettes are so good and they were so brilliant. Like, everything about each of them was super brilliant. But, like, the Amon vignette being the finale of the vignettes as well, just finally getting that after almost a year
And
was...
seeing Cyrus vulnerable for the first time.
Yeah, that was really interesting, watching him go through that that hour-long moment.
Yeah.
Mine was the Dr. Gilbert moment, because that was something that I had been waiting 3 seasons for. It was also the first time that I've had true bleed since LARPing like 7 years ago. So it was...
Aww.
We had a nice little powwow afterwards.
Yeah, it was great. And like, that's the type of role play and type of immersion that I live for. It's what I try to achieve as a storyteller to my players, and to finally be able to be, hit with that so hard. It was good. It was a good moment. I thought it was an amazing scene and an amazing session, and like, it's good.
And that was why I noticed someone saying about that episode, and it is something that I wish more storytellers would do. People commented on our use of silence in that episode, and that was because that was an episode where sometimes you just had to sit and let the pain sit with you for a minute before you moved on to the next thing, because we don't have to like keep it going the whole time. Sometimes we can just sit there and let it hurt for a little bit.
Yeah, I can say as both a player and a DM, like, sometimes just sitting with that moment is...
And I've done that on
hurts.
other shows I'm on. I've had emotional moments on other games where I don't try and come up with a cool thing to say, because sometimes just sitting in the silence and the pain makes the moment that much better.
Yeah, because not to like derail too much, but Madeline's having some...
Yeah, I play a Nosferatu, Cleopatra, on another show, and she just got hit with caring about other people for the first time.
Nice.
And she does not like it and doesn't know how to take it. So I got to do that on Sunday.
And then, yeah, that's Iron City by Night, so I think that's
Carrion Comfort Studios. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I got the name right. But yeah, so if y'all go back and watch, you can see Ellie as a player as well. So, Dustin, we know you and Cyrus have a lot of differences between you. We've talked about those differences endlessly. What do you have in common between you two?
Ooh.
Tenacity.
There you go. Yeah, answer for me. I don't know.
Drive, tenacity,
Yeah.
commitment. The things that make Cyrus effective are what makes Dustin effective, I think.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that sounds great. We'll go with that.
I feel like I can see you blushing through the camera.
Oh yeah,
Is it compliments?
The woos.
I don't take compliments very well. I'm like, who you talking to? You talking with?
That's okay. We can easily compliment Ellie and make her uncomfortable too. How's that sound?
I'll
We'll make
leave.
sure she's a great storyteller. She has these incredibly great. So we've asked before, but I'm curious if that answer's changed. Is there any music that you listen to get into character or get hype for a certain scene? And an interesting follow-up for Ellie, do you have different playlists for different episodes? So like for
Yes.
the yeah.
Yes. Or more so, I have different artists for, especially with the vignettes, with having guests coming in, because these guests aren't a part of us regularly. So I would have an artist that, like, their music, I would go harder into that so that I could be in the mindset of the guest character coming in so that I could better guide their aspect of the story. So, like, Amon was Mastodon.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of Mastodon before the Amon episode. Run the Jewels was Denise. Lucita was... Oh, I'd have to pull up my playlists. I think Lucita was this, like... It's this kind of, like, heavy salsa playlist.
Ooh, that's fun.
Trying to remember. Dr. Gilbert was Mumford and Sons. Because I was like, I gotta get ready to cry. Let's do this. And because I'm actually crying in that episode, like a lot. But I was just like, keep it in Storyteller.
Just like just take like one small clip and just play it over and over again. Go like edit it in so that you can cover up the tears.
That's why like I'm like very frozen during because when Dr. Gilbert, you can actually see tears come down her face. And when I saw that, I like froze in place because I knew that it was about to happen to me too.
Yeah, I was a hot mess that episode. But my playlist, there's a wonderful Banu Hakim playlist on Spotify that I listen to for to get into Cyrus. And then the Dr. Gilbert episode, I listen to a lot. I actually have a sad soundtrack that I use for my for my games, and I actually listen to a lot of that. It's Fesliyan Studios. It's the composer that does all of our music for D4, and
Nice.
so
Okay.
and so it's a bunch of like just really soft and like emotional, orchestral and a lot of pianos and things like that. Where that just really, I really wanted to be in that headspace for that episode.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool things to link in the Discord so that fans can go listen to the same music.
Yeah, I also listen to our soundtrack, which we have that soundtrack available on Bandcamp. The seasons 1 through 3 soundtrack, and we actually will have a brand new soundtrack debuting in season 4. It's currently being made right now.
Is this the first time we've announced it?
Yes.
I know we've talked about it, but I didn't know if we.
Yeah, season 4 will begin with a brand new soundtrack and a remix of the opening theme.
I'm real hype about it.
The remix of the opening is, I get so excited by it. It very much is the Sabbats in town.
the preview that you showed me, it's a bop. Or what is it? It slaps.
It slaps?
It is indeed fire as a track. I know, I love your background so much. So much.
Everything is fine.
Sorry, I have to focus back on the questions. So we had previously gathered this data to drop in the chat for season 1 just so that we could get people engaging in the chat because we love talking to you guys. But I don't think we've covered it on blood bonding. If you, Dustin and Ellie, were embraced, which clan would you most likely be and why? I know. I already know the answer.
Malkavian. Always Malkavian. Just because that was my introduction into vampire, was essentially getting embraced into Clan Malkavian because of the connection I had with the clan at the time. So being introduced with the clan that fits me is why I'm a career Malkavian.
As much as I don't want it to be, it would probably be Venture.
Yeah, Venture.
Interesting. Why is that?
I feel like Venture would pick you.
Yeah, because I'm very charismatic, and I can talk. I'm just. It would probably be Venture, even though I don't want to be Venture at all.
Okay.
I think also the Toreador would want you.
Toreador,
Like for a lot of your, the Toreador could like use you as a gateway into a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like especially film and whatnot.
But yeah.
That's very true.
The Toreador get into the D&D streaming.
They would though, and they'd be those players that show up in costume every episode.
Look, don't call me out. I'm a Malkavian.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Are you gonna look at me and tell me that I'm wrong?
You're not wrong. I covered myself in highlighter to look like an amoeboid, so I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one was one, and I can't remember if someone else asked this or if this was something I came up with. Ellie, are there any plans that the players prevented from happening that you'd like to share? Or any places that you would have liked to see them go that you would like to share that they didn't?
I wish we would have had more time to make good on the deal with the Garu. Mm-hmm. But that is coming up. I have plans for things to do with the Garu. I just hate that we didn't get to it this time, but also there are people that I would like to be a part of the Garu thing that I think means we're going to stream it. I'll just go ahead and announce it here. We're going to do maybe a 1-shot, maybe a 2-shot. We'll see how the story shakes out, of ATL by Moonlight, which will be werewolf 1-shots. I will be in the 1-shot. I will not be storytelling it because I will be playing Mooney.
Do we get a preview of who's going to be storytelling it?
Nope. Because I am still getting that figured out, because there is a very specific kind of story that we want to tell and werewolf NPCs that I want to bring in that I want to highlight a lot of other people in the family. So I want to bring the community together in this 1-shot.
Will we get someone playing Tank? That's the question that I'm sure everyone's asking in the chat. Like Tank and who was the little questiony one?
Oh, Slaughter.
Slaughter. Will we get Tank and Slaughter if this comes to
fruition? I would love to have Slaughter because of who she's based on. She's a good friend of me and Dustin's. I haven't talked to her yet. Tank, I know who I want for Tank, and I know that they're not available right now, so Tank will not be in the 1-shot. But
I will say,
I want to have Tank one day.
all I can visualize for Tank is essentially the Overwatch character Zarya.
So Tank is actually based off of, I said this in the Discord, but Tank visually is based off a character from Hellsing. So, who she's part of Millennium, but if you ever have seen Hellsing, she's the one with the tattoos on the whole right side of her body. Very Butch Panzer looking. But that's her.
If your characters, and Ellie, I think this will go for the NPCs as well, which would be really interesting. If your characters from the end of of season 3 could go back and give a piece of advice to their season 1 selves or another member of the coterie, what would it be, or who would it be, and what advice would you give them?
Cyrus?
What advice?
You can pick anyone in the coterie, including Cyrus, but
What? Tell me the question again. My brain wandered there.
if season 3 finale Cyrus could go back in time to the beginning of season 1 and give anyone in the coterie, including season 1 himself, advice, who would it be and what would the advice be?
I don't know if I can answer that because end of season 3 Cyrus is not in a good place.
Yeah.
And
That's fair.
I think if Cyrus at this moment in time, it would probably be kill me.
Oof, that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, for characters that would go back and give advice, oof, I think Mooney would probably go back and give herself advice to burn down the house.
That's a big one.
The fact that that house fell into kindred hands is very unsettling for her.
Yeah. Well, because she was, I don't know if you've talked about it. Was she intentionally keeping it empty, or did she sell it?
She just abandoned it.
Okay.
It's been completely abandoned. She pretty much just killed everyone in the house and ran away and never looked back. So
Yeah.
she would give advice to herself to burn down the house. And I saw someone just said fell back into kindred hands because it was previously a Giovanni manor.
Oh yeah, that was a mid-season 2 discovery, I think.
Yeah, that she was born Elena Giovanni, but her mother was a werewolf.
This was one I can't remember. I think it got asked right before last episode. If you had to pick an actor to play either you or one of your characters in a movie, who would you pick?
Who would play Cyrus, Dustin?
We're gonna get like Viggo Mortensen Cyrus because like I could watch that.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd have to.
I would want Michael Fassbender for Cyrus.
That'd be a good one. I could see that. Yeah.
So the original inspiration for Dot, I would want that person, but I'm not gonna say who because that person might be able to come on the show.
Ooh.
Maybe. Out of people that I would like to see play someone in a movie, God, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so bad at these types of questions because I just don't.
For me personally, people keep telling me Kat Dennings, so I guess I'll just say Kat Dennings.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
I think there's a couple large reasons why.
Yeah, I think I would put that to the fans, like fan cast.
Yeah,
like,
I love fan casting.
Your fan cast because I just.
Oh my gosh. Yes, like those. Do you remember those Tumblr boards where they would fan cast everyone?
Yeah.
Like
do that with ATL by night. I would love that.
So we've asked the other players how aware they were of what was happening in your vignettes, and I think you've kind of hinted at this. Is Cyrus totally unaware of what they've been up to, or does he have some level of awareness of what they've been up to?
I think he's somewhat aware, but not fully. Like anything involving the election or anything like that, I don't think he knows anything about. It's most. I mean,
he had bigger stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like especially the scourge duties, I think. He didn't really have much fucks to give.
Yeah.
How does he feel about working with Georgina, though?
Don't think he knows anything yet because I don't think he.
Where we left off, you don't know how the results ended. You just know Alpha's prince.
Yeah, that's all he knows is Alpha's prince.
Oh, that's right.
He's never even met Georgina. He doesn't even know anything about her.
Well, how would he feel about working with a Malkavian?
Um,
An adorable Malkavian, though. I love Georgina. I
I,
will.
I think we're just gonna have to wait and see if it ever happens, because
Yeah.
I
I
want
will
that moment.
I will personally rip Cyrus' hands off if he tries to hurt Georgina. Just, I'm gonna throw that out there.
I can't say because I don't know where his headspace is gonna be next season.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah,
lot
he's
happened
he's
to
in
him.
a complicated place right now.
That
I
might actually be a good place to be with a Malkavian,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
or a really bad one. Like it's
I
real.
mean, I mean, you
If
know,
someone,
He's got some Malkavian in him now, so
I
Got a
want,
little Malk in you.
trust me, I
what?
wished that's probably something that didn't happen that I wished would have happened is if Cauldron of Blood had not sent Cyrus into a frenzy, Catherine was going to come out. And Catherine would have been having fits inside Cyrus's head.
Okay.
So I didn't get to do Catherine fucking with him because that would have been a terrible moment for her to have come out because she would have gone after Amon. She would have made you go after Amon.
hmm Yeah, it was it's good. But yeah, that's like Cloud Memory and Premonition all came from
Mm-hmm.
Catherine. That's where Cyrus got both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. Okay. Didn't realize that.
Hmm.
And then now would be around the time where I know we talked about it. Did we want to extend a little bit? We do have a
Yeah,
couple
we
more
can go a little bit longer.
questions. Okay. Um, so I just was looking at it. Where was it? Oh, there we go. So Dustin, what has been Sirius's biggest personal growth over the time he's been on the show, and what are his firearm, magazine, armor, etc. preferences outside of the incendiary round?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm making it difficult. I'm making you think about it.
So I'll start with his. Hold on.
Yeah, you have a chart
I do. I actually have.
because we
I have a
discuss
full
it
list
every
of what
time.
he
So you have a
has.
spreadsheet of
I do have a
munitions.
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I do.
I
Yeah.
love
Oh
that
no,
so
the
much.
munitions for Sirius has been taken very seriously
I
cuz
love that so much.
because like I rule of cool so much stuff and I always have as a storyteller that was like if you can justify to me like how you're carrying all these pieces, I'll let you carry whatever you want. If it's a weird weapon, if you can justify to me how you got it, you can have it.
Yeah, and so Cyrus has oh, I don't have my sheet on me. He actually, I have contacts, and his I have criminal contacts, and his contact is a high tech arms dealer. Like that's what and so that's where he gets a lot of his stuff. So, uh, but before we get into weapons, his turning point was the Dr. Gilbert episode. Like hands down, 100%. And you can actually see that character growth in the Denise episode, because I think pre Dr. Gilbert he would have probably killed the gangrel without even letting Denise talk,
Cuz
like
she's Sabat.
because she's Sabat, she is against Camarilla, and it would have like he would have been like boom, dead, done. But you know, that like giving her a chance is you know kind of what he, because at that moment he was kind of not really sure what to do. Like he had a memory got thrusted back into his head that he didn't know was there, and then obviously the Amon episode and that encounter and that turmoil that he had. So yeah, he's broken.
Yeah.
You know, he's always been broken, but he did not know he was broken.
Yeah.
And so it's I'm looking forward to seeing where he ends up, because I don't know at this point.
Yeah. And that's part of why I'm glad that we have Bishop Lydia coming in. Because that is where Cyrus should flourish, and he already flourished once. against Bishop Lydia, but now she's coming with more. And Cyrus is broken. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So Cyrus's weapons. So
So let's move on from emotions because
yeah,
those are heavy.
Let's move on to that. So on his person, his sniper rifle that he used, because Cyrus is a sniper, is a Chaytak M200 collapsible rifle. He uses 408 rounds for mortals and to put Kindred in torpor, but he also has Ralphus incendiary rounds that he uses for Kindred if he needs it.
Eights are pretty big, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
If he his sidearms that he uses are both SIG M18s, and they are both suppressed. And he has 2 sets of magazines for those. He has 9mm rounds and he has the incendiary rounds. And then he always has a tactical knife and a stake on him at all times.
Mm-hmm.
In his truck bed, that opens up, he has a Barrett M107A1 50 caliber sniper rifle, which is what he used to shoot through the Center of Puppetry Arts. A Benally M4 semi-auto shotgun, which is the Dragon's Breath rounds, which he's used a couple times. A Barrett Rec 7 assault rifle, a Colt CM901 assault rifle, an AK-12 assault rifle, an HK-MP5 PDW, a 6 Sauer M18. He has 2 of those, which are backups in case he ever loses his regular sidearms. A Glock 41, which he gave to Aaron, so he doesn't have that anymore. Aaron has that. He gave the Springfield XD45 service model to Aaron. He still has the Glock 41. An HK45, and then multiple rounds of ammo, magazines, and knives. And that is what he has in his truck whenever he opens that up.
So out of those, after the incendiary round, which one's his favorite?
His sniper rifles is his favorite, and then other than that, it's the 50 cal, which I would have liked to have used more, but
Does his sniper rifle have a name?
It does not.
Okay.
I'm typing in the chat. They're arguing about the pronunciation for Zemissi.
The pronunciation of which one?
Zemissi.
Oh. We all understand descriptive philosophy of language. If we understand what you're saying, that's the important part.
I always pronounced it Zemis.
See, and I read it and I go Tsimishe. That's how my brain reads it.
I've always said Zemissi since I started in VTM, and so I'm just stuck that way. And I will say Camarilla until the day I die. You can
same.
Miss me with Camarilla.
See, and the only other pronunciation I would also suspect is like Tsimische. So we've got the joke now where you get 4 pronunciations out of 3 people.
I mean, I'm the same way. I'm the same way with Giovanni, because having Italian friends and everything, I typically will say Giovanni.
And some dialects of Italian is like Giovanni.
Yeah.
You barely even pronounce the first I, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't speak Italian.
Giovanni.
So come at my throat if you need to. I had other questions. Where are they? I was literally looking at them. How do I keep losing this in my notes as I'm looking at them? Oh, okay. If Cyrus was playing Vampire the Masquerade, would he pick Banu Hakim or would he pick another clan?
Oh, he would pick Banu Hakim. It's all he's ever known.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think this is the last one. Let me check just to be sure. Yeah. So, Ellie, tell us about Mark's brother Chris's CEO.
Oh, okay.
Luca.
So Mark's brother-in-law's CEO. I have a sheet of all of the other splats that exist in ATL. There are mages. We already met one mage, Talia, the barmaid from Drunken Unicorn. And there are changelings. That's part of what Mel is inheriting with guarding Waffle House. Is Waffle House is safe zone for all non-human. So the more Mel goes to do her job, she is going to see these people. So I wanted to give a touch of a threat of changelings, because changelings are actually extremely powerful and quite terrifying when they want to be. And since I don't think we'll revisit Chris's job, his CEO is a puka. They are mischievous liars and things, which is great for a tech CEO. Meta commentary. But he is actually half Chinese, half British. He fakes the British accent because that satisfies the puka's need for lying or not being entirely truthful. So he fakes the accent the whole time.
So he's literally using fairy rules on his own fae-ness.
Yes. But his form, because a lot of pukas calling out Zach, I know a lot of fox pukas because fox are naturally very mischievous. But I also have spent a lot of time living overseas. So the CEO is based off the Monkey King in Chinese folklore. So he's a golden snub-nosed monkey. Which if you look them up, they're the monkeys that are like very like bright golden blonde with the blue face. So that is his actual form, is a golden snub-nosed monkey.
It's the same type of monkey as the what the fuck meme, right?
No, those are white. These are really cute. I don't have a way to put it up on screen. But if you just Google golden snub-nosed monkey, you'll see it. But no, so yeah, he's based on the Monkey King. And so he has a lot of stuff that he's done Monkey King style.
That's fun.
And so that was when he touched Anton's shoulder. There's a way of sharing glamour to kind of lightly show your real form to another person. So what touched Anton's shoulder, he got to see that bit of the golden monkey fur. And that was what was the warning shot to Anton of like, you're in my house.
So would you say that was fairy bullshit?
Yes.
It's look, I don't get to make a pun that.
Oh no!
But yeah, Anton has had a couple encounters with changelings before, and so he knew like we need to go. like you're literally in the Monkey King's party. Leave.
Yeah, it's like that TikTok audio, except it's instead of I am the Lizard King, I'm the Monkey King.
Yeah.
You don't know me. I'm the Monkey King.
I am the fucking Monkey King.
Because we've decided to take a little more time, are there any questions y'all would like to ask each other real quick?
When can you come back?
We do miss you in studio.
I know, I miss you.
Yeah, that's a personal. I know the answer, but I just miss you.
Yes.
Probably my question for Cyrus would be, does he have any wants now?
Ooh.
Because this tied him a little closer to humanity, and Cyrus hasn't wanted for anything before.
No, I think at this point he wants her to be safe. He wants Dr. Gilbert to be safe, and he does not know how to make that happen because...
How much will you hate me if I make her safe in a way you don't like?
Oh.
Yeah, to
Cyrus
keep
isn't
wording,
happy.
phrasing.
Dustin, on the other hand.
That's a Faye deal right there.
So are you suggesting that Cyrus actually gained a point of humanity?
Cyrus did gain a point
Yeah,
of humanity.
Cyrus gained a point of...
Isn't that neat?
Cyrus
Yep.
gained... So, and I forgot to message Dustin this. You have gained another point of humanity, actually.
Hey, all right. I'm up to 4.
So Cyrus gained a point of humanity for the Dr. Gilbert episode, and then gained a point of humanity actually defending her against Amon.
So I'll say this, I was at 2 humanity during the Dr. Gilbert episode.
Yep.
So you're at 4 now. You have 4 whole humanity.
Yep.
I think that puts you just under.
Cyrus was very
Thomasina.
close. Cyrus was very close to becoming a white.
Yeah, if the incident with Dr. Gilbert had gone differently and I had bestial failure and killed her, I would have been a white. Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been it.
Yep.
Uh,
I was so scared that whole vignette that you were about to become a white because I wasn't planned for that.
yeah, I mean, the dice fall where they fall, just like during the Amon episode, giving the book over. I made it up to a willpower roll of if he would think it was a good idea or not, and the dice fell where they fell, and
That's why I
he
like
did.
doing willpower rolls for those moments.
Yeah, same. And it's why I like to, like, a lot of times you'll see I'll take it into my own initiative to make those rolls. I've also worked a lot with Ellie, so I know her storytelling aspect as well. So I like to push those boundaries because I like the aspect of the dice tell the story, changes the outcome. Look at the Catherine episode.
Oh yeah.
Season 1, that was not Cyrus's intention. He 100% was going to take her torport. She was already staked to the dot, and dice fell where they fell. And
I think in some situations like that, it is important to make your own willpower rolls. Because that emotional Iron City by Night episode, I did a willpower roll to see how I reacted to finding my coterie member and wound up hugging them, which Madeline doesn't do. So sometimes it's good to just elect your own willpower roll to see who you still are, because you're not fully human and you're grasping at humanity. So letting your willpower decide that.
And I'm excited to see what happens to Cyrus next, because early on season 1, when Anton tasted Cyrus's blood when he at Six Flags, and I told Zach off camera that he was Katif, he was not Banu Hakim, and like that was early on, and that's why Anton had this Charlie Day chart of who or what Cyrus was. But at the end of season 1 or season 2, I don't remember when it was, when he was like, "Why does your blood read?"
That was season 2, end of season 1, actually.
It was end of season 1.
Yeah, you were still with us when that happened.
And so that's why Cyrus was like, "What are you talking about?" Because Cyrus didn't know. Cyrus did not know that he was not.
It's like finding out you're adopted by someone else.
And it was good for the Amon episode to finally come out to see why he was Katif and why he was not true Banu Hakim, and because he didn't know, never knew who his sire was. He never knew anything other than the doctrination of the path of blood of the Banu Hakim. So
I gotta update the frame if you ever come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but and Cyrus is very much lost right now. He's only known one thing his entire life, and that thing has been ripped from him now. And so it's going to be exciting to see where he ends up and what happens, because I honestly don't know.
Did you have questions for me?
Oh, I was going to say one last thing, is that more excitement when you come back, when you eventually come back, hopefully you'll be at the same table as Renee, and so we'll get to see. I just want to see Cyrus and Hex in the same room, interacting. Oh, delicious.
I don't think I have any questions for you. None that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll ask.
We typically talk about more stuff than we let on.
Yeah, we're
schemers.
We are.
Scheming schemers.
Well, and that's part of the joy of getting to work with other people who also want to tell painful stories, because in my opinion, Vampire is absolutely, it's a game about hope and fighting for hope. And that is naturally going to lead to very painful stories and very painful moments. And it's a game where you are inviting pain into your table. And so being blessed with players like Dustin that want to tell those kind of stories and really want to go hog into them, and are like, yes, let's think of how to twist this, how to make this a beautiful and painful thing for everyone.
Yep.
And
I just want to tell a good story, and I'll make decisions sometimes for Cyrus that benefit the narrative. That like like the Dr. Gilbert stuff. Like I specifically put those ticking time bombs in there for that knife to be stabbed and twisted. And the Organvor eating of hearts is 100% a metaphor of his own heart being ripped out, and him constantly having to eat hearts to survive.
That's why in his vision the heart turned to sand. Because he lost his heart and all he had was the desert and the Banu Hakim.
Yep.
I have reasons for every single thing that happened in his premonition. I've been writing premonitions too long for Malkavians.
I love it. It's good.
That was probably one of my favorite premonitions to write, honestly. Just because that entire premonition is Cyrus's biography. Like, from the moment he met Dr. Gilbert on, that premonition was his life, and the premonition was its way of telling him who he was. Because premonitions aren't always seeing the future.
That's true.
Yep. And it was a perfect way to reveal that Cyrus had premonition.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's subtle moments like the subtlety of like just the grabbing the ring finger and feeling the
That
guilt.
hurt me so bad.
Honestly, it was really well done. I loved that.
When you
so
were
much.
rubbing your ring finger, that is that's the moment where I had to fight back crying the hardest.
Zach just said, Cyrus is not old. He is not been kindred very long, and he just was very sheltered. And the not understanding pop culture references wasn't because he was old; it was because he was sheltered and just doesn't know it, and has no memory of knowing it from when he was mortal. And he has a low generation number, not because he's old, but because he's diablerized a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The tragedy of Cyrus ibn Muhavar ben Aftab.
It is a tragedy.
And on that sad note, with all of your feelings hitting you, we just wanted to let you know this is the last episode of Blood Bonding this season. We love you guys. We're so happy you joined us for season 3. Season 4 begins on January 5th.
And we will be doing family game night for the holidays.
Yeah, so keep stopping by our channel for the holidays to make sure that you can join us as we goof off productively, I guess. And then make sure you join us again on January 5th as we start season 4 of ATL by Night. Join our fan Discord. There's a lot of discussion there. And don't forget, you can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/ATL by Night. And you can actually join our Discord live roleplay server. And then the last couple things, just as a reminder, we've got the Rusted Icon Renashri Camarilla glasses, and we've got our Lost Childer Play Guide on atlbynight.net.
And I will also note that if you're not caught up, all episodes have been put on YouTube, and there are playlists for each season, as well as all of the vignette episodes.
Yes. Thank you.
And because people have asked, I recommend watching. If you want to catch up with the vignettes and want to see how they affected season 3 and vice versa, watch them in order of upload. Because I think there's a playlist for the vignettes and a playlist for season 3. But if you want to see how the stories shook out together, watch them in upload order.
Yeah. But yeah. And then also, Dustin, I know you're still doing D4. Are you doing any other games where people can catch you in the meantime?
Nope, just D4. Every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/rockpunchatl. This upcoming Sunday is our last session for the 2020 season. We'll be picking up January 3rd, for 2021. December, and then mid-December we'll have our own version of Blood Bonding, our Q&A for 2020's
A
nutsos.
fireside chat, as it were.
It is a fireside chat, yes. So that be on the lookout for that on our D4 socials. But you can catch us at D4D&D RPG on all the social medias.
And for me, you can catch me Sundays on Carrying Comfort Studios Twitch in Iron City by Night, a Vampire V5 game set in Birmingham, Alabama. So I get to play a little bit of my hometown area as Madeline, the UAB cheerleader turned Nosferatu.
Roll Tide.
War Eagle.
And then do either of you have any other forgot how to speak English. Do either of you have any other guest spots coming up?
I don't think I have any that I can talk about at the moment. I have a couple one-shots in the works, and I get pulled in on a lot of extra stuff. So follow me on Twitter, Ellie_A_Collins, and I usually announce my guest spots there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in something this Friday. I am doing a Band of Badgers, which I think is twitch.tv/Band of Badgers. We're doing, they're doing Tomb of Annihilation, and Devin and I both are coming in to play, to guest on that, and we're both playing goblins, and it's going to be chaotically fun.
Can't wait.
So.
I thought you were going to tell me it was a Redwall campaign. Badgers?
I got
Anyway.
you.
You should be in here sometime. It's a mess. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Don't forget, you can catch us at all of our socials at twitter.com/ATLbynight, at instagram.com/ATLbynight, at facebook.com/ATLbynight.
Yes, we're ATL by Night on all socials.
At patreon.com/ATLbynight, and you can also catch Ellie at her own Twitter, Ellie A. Collins, and Dustin, did you give out your Twitter?
Oh, it's at Flash Fletch.
Okay. Yeah, and you can catch Dustin at his Twitter at FlashFletch. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We love you. Be safe for your holidays, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Next week? This week?
Family Game Night, I believe, picks up next week.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing you next week, and then with ATL by Night in January. Good night.
Night.